Okay, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. We appreciate Emma's input. I was just thinking maybe we're going from the ridiculous with the New York housing situation to the sublime and talk to two great jazz musicians who play in the Bronx. It is George Nazos and Tamuz Nissim. Nice to see you both.
Hi, nice
Hi.
to be
Right.
here.
Nice to have you. Thank you so much for playing music in the Bronx. Just George, let's just start with you. Talk to me about your how you learned to play. You're a wonderful guitarist. Talk to me about your interest in music and how you got where you are today.
I grew up in Greece, and in my generation, had no exposure to jazz at all. So I was mostly listening to heavy metal, uh, and then I went to progressive rock and progressive metal, and then eventually I heard jazz fusion, the Chick Corea records, the Mahavishnu Orchestra, and from then I said, really, this is what I would love to do. I always like to improvise, even when I was playing rock. I will find
Mhm.
myself getting lost with the guitar, just
So,
jamming, basically.
sounds to me over time, sounds to me like you mellowed out a little bit. You know, you kind of
Yes, I
said, yeah,
still I still have a
you
thing. I
grew
mean, I
up a
play.
little bit.
Yeah, I still play. I mostly play nylon string today, but
Mm.
still, when I have the chance to rock out and play some more jazz rock oriented music, I still do that.
Tammuz, you are a wonderful singer. Talk to
Thank
me
you.
about your background in singing when you started. And did you start singing heavy metal before you got to do this kind of music?
You think? No,
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
no. So I grew up in Tel Aviv, and I went to an arts high school over there, and I actually started as a painter. I
Oh,
don't know
how
if you can
interesting.
see completely, but I come from an artistic family. These are my grandmother's artwork. I can tilt the camera a little bit later.
Hmm.
So I was playing the piano and painting, and I always liked singing. And my school had a music department, a jazz music department.
And this was
And
in Israel?
yeah, in Tel Aviv. In Tel
Wow,
Aviv.
how interesting.
And I joined the jazz music department. I started singing. I fell in love with it, and I used to have a local gig every Tuesday in Tel Aviv in a cafe when I was maybe 15. And every Wednesday, I would take the little money I made and I'd go to CD store and I buy all the records I could afford and I learn all the songs on the record and
Learned
perform
on the
them the week
songs
after.
you learned on the songs on the piano and sang?
Yeah. I used to have
Wow.
a band. I always liked playing with guitar players. Maybe because I also play piano myself, but also because I really like guitar.
So
Um,
all right, so now we're going to get personal. So now you're married. Did you meet here in the States, and did you meet because of music, or did you
we
meet and then you said, "Oh, by the way, I play music"?
we met in a music school. We both studied
Ah,
in a conservatory in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam. Later, I changed school and I moved to The Hague. But we both were college students, right? Studying
Yes.
music.
and
Yes.
and and at what point did you say, "Hey, maybe we ought to make like a little duo and sing and play together"? And that was that when you came here to the States?
Oh, we've been. You want to say?
Go ahead.
We performed already in the Netherlands while we were students, and then it made sense to play together. I mean, we enjoyed it first of all,
Right.
and
Yeah.
for me, it was a real eye opener to play duet as a vocalist. I mean, there are not a lot of people that made a career doing
Accompanying a
that.
vocalist. Yeah.
Right.
Accompanying a vocalist as a guitar player is one of the most difficult things. But I took the challenge, I
All
enjoyed it,
right, there
and
you go.
So you
Uh,
grew.
and, and and now listen, what these folks do, they play every Sunday from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Bronx Burger House, which is on Marshallou Avenue, in I guess right off Broadway. I've been there a
Yeah.
hundred times. The best burger place in the Bronx, as far as I'm concerned. And that must be nice because it's very close to people. You know what I mean? I don't know
Exactly.
which one of you wants to just talk about those gigs and the playing of them together. Go
I
ahead.
could. I
Go
could say.
ahead. Sure. Go ahead, Tammuz. Don't be
So
shy.
we collaborated. We are collaborating for the Bronx Burger House that we play every Sunday. First of all, it's more than just our concert. It's a concert series It happens every week from 6 to 9 every Sunday. And from 6 to 7, we have a special guest. So it's the two of us plus one. I double on drums and sometimes piano, depends who's the guest. So if the guest on drums, I'm going to play
I
piano.
think we may have some pictures of some of that. So if they want to
Right.
show a little bit, there you go.
Sure.
And so that's from 6 to 7 p.m.?
The 6 to 7 is the show, and then from 7 to 9 is the jam session, and those are the pictures. You see different musicians, different instruments. Those are all professional musicians who live around here. Most of them. Tammy, the singer over here, she's in Brooklyn, but she came by because
Oh, she's
nice.
forgiven. That's okay. We accept that. But it's kind of a little. It's kind of a. There you are on the drums. It's kind of a cozy a place and a cozy place to play all that music.
Yes, it's a very welcoming place. It has turned into. It's the third month we are doing. We managed to have already 13. Fifth month. We have 30 musicians. 30 musicians have worked there. And we have to say that this happened not only because of Laura, that is
Laura who founded For Bronx. That's her organization.
But also we had the support of one of the most important non-profit jazz organizations in the city. It's called Kid Up, and they have been also giving us sponsoring the concert, so we are able to get paid without playing in a place that doesn't charge for cover music.
Right. Which means that's just a wonderful thing. So we have a little clip of you so people could see what you sound like. And it happens to be one of my favorite songs, one of everybody's favorite songs, but it's beautifully done. We'll just show a little piece of it. So Anderson, if you can cue up the jukebox, let's see what happens.
Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun.
All right, there you go. Anyway, so people could get to see, but it's intimate and it's beautiful. Just talk about the audience and the vibe in that house, because look, people are eating burgers.
They are eating burgers, they're drinking, sometimes they are in conversations. But I have to say that there were some moments of listening. We had a night for the Brie Award winners night, and there was saxophone solo, and there were ladies on the bar. I think it was a woman about my age and her mother, elderly woman, and they looked at each other and they said, "This is so beautiful." They looked at me, they looked at each other, "This is so beautiful." They looked at me again, and they said it like 5 or 7 times. And it's this little magic.
Beautiful. That is beautiful.
You know,
it's something that the neighborhood really needed to have. At this point, it's the only weekly jazz series in the Bronx and jam session.
Yeah, I'd like to. There are a lot of places in the Bronx. This is something we had this discussion on our last program about the importance of these kinds of things in the Bronx. Every neighborhood should have this. I mean, that's the way I look at it. And what you guys have and what we've just showed, there is so much music in the Bronx. There's a wide range. There's musicians everywhere. Yeah.
And musicians that perform around Manhattan, perform around the boroughs, perform around the world, perform around the states.
We want to perform here. And also, I think there's more restaurants that could do just this kind of thing. It would bring more people in. I mean, I'm a big advocate of these kinds of things. I'm always curious about a muse. That song, "Here Comes the Sun," obviously one of the great pop songs of all time, rock songs.
We have a small story that we need to mention for that. While playing a concert in the island of Antiparos in Greece, we played our version, and without knowing, Olivia Harrison was in the audience.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
The owner of the restaurant, he came and he whispered and he told him, George Harrison's widow is here and she's touched to tears.
Did she talk to you?
Of course.
Yeah, we sat with her. It was
my heart just skipped a beat. That is so beautiful. And that was just purely coincidental?
Completely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
But that leads into what my question is. How do you choose what music? I mean, "Here Comes the Sun" is not traditional jazz.
Right.
But sort of, how do you choose music? Like,
Well,
does one
jazz
of you say,
can.
"Hey, let's do this," and the other one says, "Well, let's do this"? How
Well,
does
we
it work
also
out?
write a lot of our own music. Yorgos won a composition award last year from the Bronx Council
Oh,
of the Arts. But I like to do both original music and cover music. Don't forget that the jazz standards or the American songbook were pop songs of the time. And the musician, like for example, "Someday My Prince Will Come" was from a Disney movie, from Sleeping
mhm.
Beauty, and it became one of the most famous jazz standards. So um,
Do,
any
do you
song, if you treat it the right way, could be done in a jazz
do
way.
you spend a lot of time looking for music, or do you rehearse a lot? In other words, you have the convenience with other people have a band, they got to call the band members and everything else. You guys
Right.
are right. You wake up in the morning and say, "Hey, let's play." So, I'm like, how often do you play together? How often do you formally rehearse, or is it always kind of
We have been
improv?
playing together for 14 years now.
Yeah.
And that's also, sadly, is not very common for jazz now to have,
Mm,
because we
the same band.
a lot of the concerts that we do, we get hired individually, and we play with people that it's possible that we have never met before, and it can
Yeah.
be also beautiful. But playing with somebody for so long, uh, you don't need to rehearse anymore.
Oh, that's
It's
fair.
just
Well, we do rehearse new material and stuff
yes,
like that. But the beauty of jazz, like for example, my previous album was called "Capturing Clouds," and it was talking about the subject that there is a moment in time that something happens with the music and it cannot be caught, because by the time you try to picture a cloud or draw the cloud
It's
or
gone.
capture the moment of
Oh,
music,
that's
it's
beautiful.
already changed.
That's beautiful. So let's just wrap it up. So every Sunday from 6 to 9 p.m., the Bronx
Right.
Burger House, you can have a fun little meal. It's great for the family. It's
True.
great for
yes.
Sunday night. And then you get to see all different kinds of music, and you get to see George Nazos and Tamuz Nissim
And a
perform.
few mentions,
Yes,
if I
please.
may, on July 9, we're going to do a sidewalk jazz cafe. So the whole of Moshalou Street on the
Marshall
side of the
Avenue.
Burger House,
Oh.
going to be music outdoors.
And
Um,
what day, the July 9th, what day of the week is it?
it is a Sunday, but it's going to be earlier than our usual show. I think we are playing from 2 to
2 to 5,
5.
Wow.
yes.
Listen, this to me is so important in the Bronx. I mean, there's so many issues, but these to me, this is
Right.
how we solve it. We get together, we play music, we enjoy our cultures,
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I mean that's it. Listen, you guys are great, George Nazos, Tamuz Nissim. I'm thrilled that
Thank
we've had
you.
this moment
thank you
together,
so much.
and I will come out there. I happen to like the cowboy burger. That's what I get when I go there. But maybe I'll get something different the next time I get there.
Okay.
Anyway, it'll be a Sunday night, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much. The Bronx Burger House.
Thank
Let's see
you.
George and Tamuz every Sunday night at 6 o'clock. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Great. Well, that will do it for the Bronx Buzz. Thanks to Emma from City Limits. Thanks to these guys. And of course, Laura from the Bronx Burger House. And you know what happens. We'll see you next week. Good night.